Don't do that.
Sorry. Sandy did it.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the October meeting of the Paulding County Planning Commission. We got the volume turned up a little louder today, so everybody can probably hear us a little better than you have been able to. We're going to dispense with the reading of how to participate in a public meeting. If you would like to pick up a copy, are available on the back table of this room. I would ask at this point if everybody would please turn any audible devices that you have off or to silence so they don't interrupt the proceedings of the meeting. Remind everybody that Paulding County Planning Commission is a recommending body. We will hear all of the cases that come before us and then make recommendation for whatever action we deem appropriate and forward that to the Paulding County Board of Commissioners meeting, because they are the local government associated with all of these applications, and that will be at tonight's meeting at 7 p.m. If you are the applicant, you need to be there for it to be considered. If you have a vested interest in it or have concerns, you recommend you be there as well. At this time, I'm going to ask if everyone on the Planning Commission has read the minutes from the previous session. I've already been informed that we have one edit that needs to be made. If anybody else has any comments on that, I'll be taking those now. And I'll explain the edit is on the last page, showing a vote for the last case. The action was a vote for approval made by Mr. Leggett. And is that the right one?
Yes.
Yes, and it's been corrected now in this packet to reflect those who voted for, those who voted against, and they abstained. So if there's no further critique of it, no edits needed, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve with the corrected form.
I have a motion to approve with the necessary edits by Mr. Leggett. I have a second.
A second.
Second by Ms. Fitzgerald. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0 and 1. Before we get started and ask Mr. Robinson to call up the first application, just to make sure everybody's clear, the applicant will have 15 minutes to present their application. They can use all of that time or conserve some for anybody else who may be speaking in partnership with them on behalf of the application, or can reserve the time for rebuttal. Now, if somebody still wants to come up and speak on your behalf, that time will still count against you. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition or may have questions, comments, or concerns, you get 15 minutes also, and that's cumulative time. So if you have anybody lining up behind you to speak, please be mindful and courteous of them and allow them time to speak also. And again, being a recommending body, we will forward all these, just to reiterate, to the Paulding County Board of Commissioners meeting tonight at 7. Mr. Robinson.
Good afternoon. First application, 2021-27Z, an application by Curtis and Missy Klein requesting to rezone 2 acres from R2 Suburban Residential District to I-1 Light Industrial to utilize property for equipment storage and commercial vehicle parking for hauling business. Property is located in land lot 621, District 2, Section 3. Property is located on the north side of Coppermine Road, west of Thompson Road. The address is 570 Coppermine Road. It's in Commission Post 3. Staff has recommended approval with 3 stipulations. We have no noted opposition on this application, and the applicant is present.
If the applicant would please come around, sign in, state your name, and address your comments to the chair, and the chair being myself. Right there. If you'll sign in on the pad right there to your right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just going to use this property for storing my trucks, parking them, equipment. That's pretty much it.
All right, you want to give me your name?
Curtis Klein.
Curtis Klein. Thank you very much. Are you familiar with the 3 recommended stipulations that
Yes.
the staff is, and you're okay with those?
Yes.
Is there any questions to the applicant from the Planning Commission?
And you're saying, Mr. Klein, it'll be your personal property you'll be storing on it?
It belongs to Miss Sue, and, I'm just leasing it from her right now. We're gonna end up trying to purchase it.
But what I'm asking, there won't be any open for public
No,
to store
no,
stuff?
no, just my equipment only.
Okay.
Any other questions to the applicant from the planning commission? Board of Commissioners, any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Klein. Is there anyone else here that would wish to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone here that would wish to speak in opposition to this application or may have questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion with regard to application 2021-27-Z. Be mindful of the three listed stipulations from staff. I have a motion to approve with the three listed stipulations from Mr. Aston. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Henson. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0 and 1. Again, it will be forwarded to tonight's meeting of the Board of Commissioners at 7 o'clock. Mr. Klein, you'll need to be present for the application to be considered. Mr. Robinson?
Okay, next application, 2021-28Z, application by Christopher Zakarwitz, requesting to rezone approximately 58.49 acres from R2 suburban residential to A1 agricultural, be for livestock and agricultural purposes. Property is located in land lots 102 and 103, District 19, Section 3. Property is located on the south of McPherson Church Road and east of Hanlon Road. It's in Commission Post 4. Staff has recommended approval with one stipulation, and we have had no noted opposition on this application, and the applicant is present.
If you would please come around, sign in, state your name, and address your comments to the chair. I believe it's Zakarowitz, right?
Zakarowitz, yes, sir.
Yeah, pat myself on the back.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Zakarowitz, and we recently purchased the acreage at 2557 McPherson Church Road, and would like to utilize this land for livestock and agricultural purposes, as well as our home.
Well, sir, you're familiar with there's only one stipulation, and that you have no canine business. That means boarding, rescue, or training, or et cetera, as far as any engagement of that nature.
Correct.
On that
No,
property. You're agreeable to that?
agreeable. Yes, sir.
Are there any questions to the applicant from the Planning Commission? Hearing none, are there any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here that would wish to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in opposition to this application or may have questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, I will now entertain a motion on application 2021-28-Z.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Mr. Leggett. Is that with the one listed stipulation?
Yes, with the one listed stipulation.
And do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Aston. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0 and 1. Same thing as before. Will be forwarded to tonight's meeting at 7 o'clock with the Board of Commissioners. You'll need to be present for it to be heard. Why do I feel like we're rushing? Mr. Robinson.
Okay, next and final application, 2021-29Z, application by Michael Wade Sanders, requesting to rezone approximately 16.455 acres from A1 agricultural to R2 suburban residential for the purpose of gifting land to his daughters for future construction of single-family dwellings. Property is located in land lot 1060, District 3, Section 3. Property is located on the west side of Cartersville Highway, which is also State Route 61. and it's north of High Shoals Road. The address is 4199 Cartersville Highway. It's in Commission Post 4, and staff has recommended approval with no stipulations. And we've had one inquiry with questions on this application, and the applicant is present.
If you would please come around, sign in, state your name, and address your comments to the chair.
Good afternoon, I'm Michael Sanders. My wife and I purchased this property 2 months ago, 16 and almost half acre. It has a current residence on that property which we reside in. And the purpose of this rezoning is to allow in the future my daughters to be able to receive parcels to build their private homes on the same property as us.
There are no listed stipulations recommended by staff. Are there any questions to the applicant from the planning commission?
How many dwellings are you looking at?
I have 3 daughters, so we would be doing 3 small tracts, 1 for each.
Any other questions? Board of Commissioners, any questions? At this time then, thank you very much.
Okay.
Is there anybody else here that wishes to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in opposition or may have questions, comments, or concerns? Please come around, sign in, state your name, and address your comments to the chair.
My name is Larry Benson, and I have some adjoining property, and I have a few questions about this. Since you said you had 3 daughters, you're gonna put up in 3 tracts. Is there a minimum lot size?
According to the, I'll go ahead and address this part. According to the Paulding County zoning code as it currently exists, the minimum lot size is 20,000 square feet unless they can attach to sewer. At that point, it could be less. So I would assume with that requirement in place, plus the topography of the property, that will tell them how many lots they could possibly get off of that for his 3 daughters.
Okay, and is there a minimum size of the houses to be built?
I will defer to Chris on that. Mr. Robinson?
The minimum square footage for a home in a R2 district is 1,100 square feet heated.
And how far can they be set back from my property line?
Your property is
Yeah,
zoned.
the structure.
What's the zoning category for your property? Is it R2 as well, or is it agriculture?
Mine's timberland, which is conservation reserve.
I don't know that there's a distance setback differentiation between R2s
I
and
mean,
A1.
you know, from my property to the structure property.
The structure has to be a minimum of 10 feet off of the property line.
Okay. And they can't put it,
But there are buffer requirements, and Mr. Robinson can give you those numbers.
The actual in the R2 district on a side setback, and I'm trying to figure exactly which property that Mr. Benson, which side. Can you show me this? Here's 61. Can I show a Crider, a Barnett, and James Butler. Oh, you're right here. You're right here on this little piece right here. Okay. Just to give you coordinates, Mr. Benson's home, if you look on the highway,
I have a home there.
it's your property, okay, his property. His property, if you look at the bottom right side of the Sanders track, the property between there and the road that you see is a house and residential. That is actually owned by a Butler's. His property is just to the south of that, and there's a little sliver it touches the bottom corner of this track.
Got it.
His property is owned R2 residential.
Do you care to quote for him the setback requirements?
The setback, if a house is built in that part of the property, the house will have to be at least 15 feet from a
Is
property
that from
line.
the structure or the drip line?
That is from the wall of the
Not
structure.
the drip line.
Only if the eaves hang out more than 3 feet.
Okay, I just want some clarification, because
If the eaves are more than 3 feet, then it comes from the eaves.
I know a lot of counties count the drip line.
That's correct.
And you can't, with that 10 feet, you can't put a septic tank line any closer than 10 feet to my property line, correct?
I
Since there's no
believe
public sewer.
I believe it may be 5 feet.
You believe?
I would have to defer to the Georgia Department of Health Department.
I just want to check.
Yeah.
The state public health department, which shares an office in this building, can be more specific as to the septic location, but they would have to produce a soils engineer analysis to tell them what soils are suitable for septic to go into. But I doubt very seriously that they would encourage them to put it directly on a property line. It will be some amount of distance off of the property line.
Okay. And since he just bought it a couple of months ago, so I couldn't find a recorded plat yet, because I looked.
That sometimes takes time to make it into.
I understand, because I'm a retired forest ranger, and I know a lot of those rules.
Right.
It takes a while
I
to,
thought you looked familiar.
yeah. Well,
Do you have any other questions for us?
no,
Thank you very much,
I
sir.
just want some clarifications on my one.
Yes, sir. Is there anybody else here that wishes to speak in opposition or may have questions, comments, or concerns about this application? Mr. Sanders, do you wish to respond or have any clarification that you can provide as far as what your intended use of the property is?
Just to clarify, the proposed home sites are 2 acres. And the setback from any property line is approximately 100 feet or more. For privacy for my daughter's sake, if anything else, from neighbors. So we should have plenty of setback for those reasons. The locations of the homes that we've proposed, I've already had a survey done, and we've had soil samples soil test, so we've got good soil results. We're looking at putting the homes in the far left corner, bottom left corner will be one home. Going north will be a second home. And the only property or home close to him would be about midway along that bottom property line and go out 100 feet. So there's a small little pin that's very light green on your map. That's a pin for some sort of livestock that was there before we bought. I don't have any livestock out there and don't have plans yet. So anyway, that's the closest a home will be, is about middle of that southern property line, about 100 feet off the property. I think that pretty much will answer his concerns.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions that we need to bring the applicant back for from the Board of Commissioners? Planning Commission?
Question, Mr. Robinson, is the minimum lot size? He said 2 acres for his daughters. What is it currently in a A1?
The minimum lot size in the agricultural district is 5 acres.
So you can't
Per-
get the 3
That's correct.
based on that.
Any further questions? Hearing none, at this time, I will entertain a motion with regard to application 2021-29-Z.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Mr. Still. I have a second from Deborah. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I had a moment. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0 and 1. Thank you very much, everybody. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Henson.
Second.
A second from Ms. Fitzgerald, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0 and 1. Thank you very much.